Blog Talk Radio.
You can follow the 110 Nation at 110 Nation. Check us out on Facebook, my personal fan page, Mr. CJ Sports. The 110 Nation fan page, the 110 Nation Sports. Make sure you guys jump over, check out our site, www.the110nationsportsradionetwork.com for all the latest videos, blogs, shows, marketing partners, you name it. It's over there, and the easiest way to find us on different apps. We are live every Wednesday night right here on Blog Talk Radio, but you can catch all these shows on replay over on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spreaker, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Podcasts, Podchasers, YouTube, you name it, and if you just listen to your podcast on certain platforms, just go on that platform, search the 110 Nation. I guarantee it'll be there. Just follow us that way. I want to thank all those listeners that caught us over on iTunes this last week. A huge uptick in iTunes listeners, so I want to welcome you guys on board. Glad you guys are catching us, however you guys are catching us. I'm glad to be here on this Wednesday night. Yes, it is Hump Day. It's been a busy few weeks. Work is a never-ending challenge. But just glad I get an opportunity to sit in the Carolina Sports Plus studio and get to sit here and talk sports with my co-host, Mario. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and get Mario into the studio. Mario, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, How you doing?
Not bad. Just wore out a little bit, but not bad.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I beat the wife home last night. She took the kids out to Kings Island. They got home probably a little bit after 6 o'clock. I remember her coming to the room. I remember her saying something about a shirt, and that's all I remember. That's how the days have been, physically and mentally and everything, just draining. But I've been working hard at work and been working hard behind the scenes, the 110, just like you've been working hard behind the scenes, the 110 and the Carolina Sports Plus. So let's talk a little bit about the Carolina Sports Plus. Let's let them know where they can find you, where they can find the Carolina Sports Plus, and what you got going on.
All right. You can check us out online at carolinasportsplus.com. You can like us on Instagram and Facebook at Carolina Sports Plus. You can like us on YouTube and subscribe on Carolina Sports Plus. Also, currently we out here in Rock Hill, South Carolina. We're working a fair until Sunday. So things been kind of rainy. Things been kind of rainy lately down here in over the Carolinas. So we've been taking a little pounding the last couple of days. So it's been real wet, but besides that, glad to be in the studio and talk sports with you today.
If you guys have not followed us, there you go, on Or we're pumped the right side. If you've not subscribed, there we go. You got too many things going. You got to like one thing, you got to follow another thing, you got to subscribe to another thing. But if you've not subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, the 110 Nation Sports Radio Network. I take clips of all our shows, make short, little promo clips, so you get an opportunity to catch the little sections of the show. I think I did 3 or 4 of last week's show. Actually had a couple more, but I just never got around to actually getting them out. We have a weekly race, the 110 Nation Racing Experience. I actually won last week at Eldora. This week we'll be off, and then we'll be back the following week to continue the 6-race series. I do There's Only One Nation. It's a weekly video. It comes out every Saturday. Let you guys see behind the scenes of what we have going on, the making, the building, the branding of the 110 Nation. I love having an opportunity to do that and let everybody see what goes on behind the scenes. Taz participates in it. Mario participates in it. So glad to see that. I also have what I call the 3 at 3. Every day at 3 o'clock, I put out my 3 picks of what I actually place on my sports bets, either on FanDuel or DraftKings. I will admit my record is not the greatest. I'm 1-8 on my sports bets. But with that being said, I'm only $5 in the hole because my win was a good win. Overall record was 15 and 12. So I actually have an overall winning record. Just my bet record is not great. If Cleveland cannot screw this up today, and they were down 4-0 in the third, now it's 4-2. They got 2 men on, no outs. If they can manage to come back to Oakland, I will take today. I already won my 2 games earlier today. I won the Cincinnati and Detroit game. So I'm hoping that Cleveland turns this around and get an opportunity to win another bet. Technically put me 2-11 because last night's didn't wrap up because I actually screwed up and and Cleveland's got bases loaded right now, and no outs. We're looking good. But one of my bets actually I screwed up and put for tonight's game. I lost the bet already, so technically I'm going to be 1-9, but I can finish 2-1 from last night and actually go 5-1 over the last 2 days to help my overall record. And financially wise, I will be up about $15, $10 to $15. So not a bad deal, but I do want to get on a run overall my bets and get that a better record. So working on that. I have been enjoying doing the bets thing. This will kind of transition us into our first topic. And I didn't send this topic. I did talk about it, I think, a little bit last night on my Instagram Live. I did post a video earlier today with the return of Joey Votto, one of Cincinnati's favorite players. I know I seen him play for the Dayton Dragons last year when he returned off injury. But ever since De La Cruz got promoted, I think there's something like 11 out of 13 games they have won. They're on a 10-game winning streak. For those that don't know, you really got to be living underneath the rock if you don't know who De La Cruz is. I got an opportunity for at least one season. It might have been longer. Watch him play for the Dayton Dragons. So I got an opportunity to see him play a lot before he got promoted up to the Cincinnati Reds. The Reds, my Lord, they have been smoking hot. As much as I don't want to say that because I am anti-Cincinnati, everything being a Cleveland fan. And you know what really surprises me about it though, Mario? I don't think the Cincinnati fans have really gotten to the point where they're really hyped about this. Like, when the Bengals went on their little run, you started seeing Cincinnati Bengals stuff everywhere, and you had 2 teams. Well, we got 2 teams in Cleveland, but a lot of Cleveland fans are like mine. They kind of like me. They kind of ever since the name change, it's not been such a thing. But when the Bengals were on their run, like, fans were all in. It was not like Cincinnati's been the Reds have been this horrible team. They've just kind of been average. But, oh, my God, this run, I would have really thought I would start seeing, especially only being about 45 minutes to an hour north of Cincinnati in the Dayton area. I really thought I would see more Cincinnati, not only merchandise, but just more of a kind of a hype behind what's going on in Cincinnati. This is the longest win streak since 1957. Like, this is a pretty big deal for the Cincinnati Reds and what they're doing and the excitement around, and they're having fun doing this. And Cleveland just scored again, 4-3. Coming all the way from North Carolina. And unfortunately, Carolina never had a baseball team. There's been talks here and there trying to get a team there, but it's never worked.
Yeah.
Is there much talk in the Carolinas about what Cincinnati is doing? Have you paid attention to what Cincinnati is doing?
Well, I can honestly say I've been paying attention to what Cincinnati's Reds been doing after this 11-game winning streak. You know, I'll kind of follow Joe Votto's career. Even though he's an older player, so I've definitely been following him. And the reaction the other night when he got in the lineup and did what he did was good money. As far as coming in, getting a double, and then getting a home run, that was a good embrace. That was a good embrace the crowd done. So
the whole
Viking
helmet and everything.
It all came out. But as far as the winning streak, it really is impressive. Football is king. And that obviously shows. Because I would say if the Cincinnati Bengals was on a winning streak or doing something that haven't been done in a long time, of course the stands will be packed and the fans will be outside. But it really is good to see the Cincinnati Reds doing great within this winning streak.
I don't know if this is a product of the fact that it's a longer season. Like you said, if the Bengals would be having this kind of run, the stadium would be packed, and there would be Bengals fans everywhere. I had working at a Circle K in the Dayton area. We had the magazine come out. I don't know if they obviously that's selling Circle K in North Carolina, but all our Circle Ks, we had the Joey Burrow, the franchise. I don't know what the magazine was titled. It was like a $20 magazine, and I ended up getting 4 shipments of this magazine, $20 magazine, and we sold out of them every single time. Like, it was ridiculous. I don't know if it's a product of the fact that there's only 17 games, and they're more excited for the fact because the Bengals have done less. There's not a Super Bowl victory versus the Reds won. It's 162 games, and they have won the World Series. Yeah. So they're not holding on to something that may never happen versus the Bengals and their fans holding on to a Super Bowl that may never happen. I don't know, or a Super Bowl victory anyway. But it just blows my mind to the Bengals go on a couple game win streak. And I get tired. Every person who walks into my store, all I got to do is hear that stupid who day, all this stuff all the time. Yeah. But you have Reds who's on a win streak that they've not had this long win streak since 1957. And ain't nobody even talking about the Reds. I've not had one single person have a conversation with me. I've had to bring up with one of my employees a conversation about the Reds, and it was a very short conversation. Outside of that, there's been no Reds conversation. That blows my mind. And I don't know if it blows my mind more that or what the Reds are doing, because it's like it's incredible what this run and just the spark of adding De La Cruz to it. I don't know if it's all him or if it's just coincidental. I mean, he's obviously playing phenomenal baseball and probably, if not one of the fastest players on the field. Just to watch what he has done and stealing the bases and the play where he should have been out at first and was able to beat the run. Just everything he's doing, it could be simply just what he's done in the spark. It has helped motivated the rest of the players, but it's just been a phenomenal thing to watch. And I cannot express how you feel about Dukes, how I feel about everything Cincinnati. Like, I do not, nothing. I choose not to have a Major League Baseball team because I refuse to cheer for a team that has changed the name from the Indians. I choose to just be a high Class A a fan of the Dayton Dragons than even having a Major League Baseball team because I don't like the Cincinnati Reds. I am the only person in my family that does not like the Cincinnati Bengals. I cannot stand the Cincinnati Bengals. And we're going to talk about that here in a second, talking about Cincinnati Bengals, Jamar Chase and his comments, and of course, Patrick Hu coming back at him.
Yeah.
But it just blows my mind that as a anti-Cincinnati, and I'm keeping this clean because if you've ever seen my Facebook page, you know I call Cincinnati something else. It blows my mind that I am more impressed. I have more respect. I have more excitement about what the Reds are doing than I know of any Reds fan in this entire state.
I feel maybe they feel like it's just just something that's just going to happen and leave. You know what I mean? They really need to see it when the money counts. You know what I mean? Hopefully they can keep it hot. And I really do want there's nothing like seeing new and fresh faces doing good things. Especially in baseball. I feel like the shift and the clock has really helped out baseball as far as their speed. The runs in games, the actual time in games, so there's definitely good momentum right now in the game of baseball just because of the overall changes that they did. You could tell they put a lot of thought into it.
I understand it's a long season.
Yeah.
And I understand that there's only so much excitement that can go on to last 162 games. I get that. I also know that I've seen highlights of home runs and stuff, and those stands ain't nowhere close to being full. I also know that I went to last year, February, for my birthday, I went to a Columbus Blue Jacket game, my first NHL game. You want to talk about an arena that was off the chain, supporting their team, like – I think we ended up losing. We ended up losing in overtime. We thought we won, and then they ended up doing a replay. There was a penalty, which they took the goal back, and then we ended up losing like within seconds of that. And to hear a place erupt, then hear a place just totally devastated. I have never, and I have been to many games. I've been to many races. I have been to you name it. I've been there. Never once have I been part of an atmosphere like I was when I was at the Columbus Blue Jackets game. You don't think that it would be beneficial for the Cincinnati Reds to have a backing to carry this momentum? Like, if I'm the franchise, I want my stadium to be full. Even as sorry as the Yankees have been at times, you hardly ever see empty stadiums at Yankee Stadium. You hardly ever see it empty at Fenway Park.
Yeah,
and so when you have So when you see the Cincinnati Stadium, especially when they've won like 11 of the last 13 on 11-game win streak or whatever this ridiculous run is, and knowing that the ticket prices are much lower than if you were going to a Yankees game or a Boston game or anywhere like that kind of game, knowing that you're paying next to nothing and you don't have the excitement around it, you don't have the stadium about full. Like, it's a beautiful ballpark. The July before I moved back, I think it was July 4th weekend, before I moved back, so July of 2019, I got an opportunity to go to, it was Reds versus Cleveland. Cleveland actually won that game. A buddy of mine took me to the game, bought the tickets. He actually bought the tickets for his son. His son had no interest in going to the game, so he asked me if I wanted to go. So phenomenal stadium. It's not like it's some rundown, who wants to go kind of stadium. It's a new stadium. It's phenomenal. So it just blows my mind that I'm sitting here in Dayton, Ohio, an anti-Cincinnati fan, and I am more hyped and more intrigued. And I have my mom and my son are at the Dayton Dragons game, high-class affiliation of the Cincinnati Reds right now as we speak. My mom just bought my son. Well, actually, me and my mom went in halves on a jersey, so you guys have a nice brand new Dayton Dragon jersey right now. Blows my mind that there is not more hype, because I guarantee if the Yankees was on an 11-game win streak right now, it don't matter if we're this far in the season, just not even half at this point, I guarantee there would be some noise. I guarantee at Fenway Park or Atlanta Braves or the Dodgers, I guarantee there would be a lot of noise and a lot of excitement going on. So it just kind of blows my mind. Speaking of Cincinnati, let's transition, and we'll get into the things I've sent you.
Okay.
Joe Burrows got asked, who the best quarterback or whatever the question was, and of course he said Patrick Mahomes. Which I don't think anybody right now currently in the NFL playing, I don't think anybody could argue that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback.
Yeah.
And Jamar Chase said that Joe Burrows was the best quarterback, and they said Joe said Patrick, and he said Patrick who? There's been a little controversy over that. You got some people that are saying, of course he's going to say his quarterback. Why would he say any other quarterback? Which I can see that. Like, if I'm gonna say, who's the best boss ever? I'm gonna say my current boss. That's just my best boss ever.
Yeah.
The whole Patrick who thing kind of rubbed people the wrong way. Like that makes you feel like you were just trying to say, my quarterback's the best quarterback. You're kind of poking the bear a little bit. Of course, Patrick Mahomes came back with a picture with him and his 2 rings after the ring ceremony or whatever they had going on, and said basically this Patrick right here. I don't know how quite there's some legitimacy in being able to poke the bear a little bit for the fact that Cincinnati has made it to the Super Bowl. It's not like Cincinnati, the Bengals have not beaten Kansas City, so it's not like they can't kind of poke at the fact that okay, we've had our opportunity, we lost to the Rams, but at the same time, I don't think Joe Burrows is on the same level as Patrick Mahomes still. I don't know if he'll ever get to, and this is hard for me to say because I have never been a Patrick Mahomes fan. I really thought that Patrick Mahomes would end up being a flop. And so to see him have the career that he's having was not what I projected or what I thought was going to happen. And he has made obviously the best and the most of the opportunities he was given and could go down as being one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play this game. Now, I'm not Nick Wright from First Things First in on Patrick Mahomes. Like, you listen to First Things First and Nick Wright talk about Patrick Mahomes, you would have swore that Patrick Mahomes was the best thing, was a god of football, basically. But actively, I don't think he's a GOAT. And I hate the GOAT conversation. I don't think he's the top 3 quarterback of all time, or the top 2 quarterback of all time. I think you got your Tom Brady or Joe Montana. Then maybe we can get a discussion all time, maybe Patrick Mahomes in there. What was your thoughts when you heard Jamar Chase, and do you think this intensifies? We don't have a lot of rivalry. I'm not going to say this word real good. I've always had trouble saying rivalries. There we go. I don't think we have a lot of them in the NFL right now. Like one point in time, I remember Dallas and 49ers hate each other. Of course, you can say anybody in the NFC East hates each other. It don't matter if it's Dallas and Philadelphia, Washington. But you say that about almost any division. But rivalries that really matter, that we really want to tune in. Say you're not part of the NFC East. You really don't care the beef between the Eagles and the Cowboys or the Cowboys and the Giants. Now, at one point in time, you wanted to see the beef between the 49ers and the Cowboys, even if you weren't fans of it, because you knew something was going to happen. If T.O. was going to go out there and do something stupid, or someone was going to stand out on the star, and whatever the case may be. We don't have really any of that. At one point in time, we even had it with the Steelers and Baltimore got real chippy. And even hating both those teams, you wanted, as a Cleveland fan, you kind of wanted to watch the highlights. You wanted to see if they got another fight. You wanted to see, but we don't got a lot of that right now. Could this be an up-and-coming rivalry that we're going to want to see? Because we almost got it. We almost got it with New England and Kansas City when Tom Brady was still in New England. But once he kind of went the other direction and went to Tampa Bay, we kind of lost that and what could have been and never was. Do you think this could be good for at least for the NFL and the fans to see this chippiness and this beef between these two teams?
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing to see. You know, his comments, I want to say his comments weren't out of, I mean, as far as poking the bear, you know, it's still early in the football season, you know what I mean, just going through OTAs and mini training camps and all that type of stuff. But overall, I think, you know, what I have said, do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying I would have said the same exact, I want to say who, but I definitely want to acknowledge them, even though, yes, he is a good quarterback. Yes, he has won many championships already. You know what I mean? Yes, I love my quarterback, and we have a great bond. So, of course, I'm going to say my quarterback, regardless, even if my quarterback says Patrick Mahomes. As you know, he has every right to say Patrick Mahomes as a quarterback. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Because he has the rings to prove it. You know what I mean? That's just simple. You know what I mean? I give my appreciation to you. But me, on the other hand, as a wide receiver, and my quarterback is throwing me the ball, I would definitely said the similar. I wouldn't have gave him no acknowledgement. No, you know, I wouldn't have got in detail about, you know, the things he's done. No, because obviously we all know what Patrick Mahomes done on the field. So I'm a Cincinnati Bengals wide receiver. I'm gonna say my quarterback. But overall, as far as the NFL and go ahead.
I would say I agree. I would have been more like, I would have said my quarterback. Then if it had said, well, he said Patrick Mahomes, I would have said, well, I could see
doesn't
how
matter.
he,
it doesn't matter
thinks.
what he was said. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would have, if I was if I was Trevor, I could see how Joe Burrow says that, or he's close to Joe Burrow's, like, somewhere that says not just like Patrick who, like, come on, you're throwing shade to right now probably the best quarterback in the NFL. Yeah.
But what was the next? What he would have said? What's the next thing you would have said? You know what I mean? I'm not. You gonna ask me a question about another quarterback? You know what I mean? Patrick who? You know what I mean? Next question. If you want to talk about a quarterback, I want to talk about my own quarterback. I don't want to talk about no other quarterback in the NFL. I don't, who's obviously still playing. You understand what I'm saying? So, Patrick who? Even though he still won, Patrick who? Next question. Let's talk about my quarterback and how my quarterback looks, in the trainings or the sessions we've been through. Them the quarterback questions I want to answer. But I don't want to sit there and answer nobody else's quarterback questions, especially if a reporter asks me, if a fan asks me, if whoever asks, my friend asks me, Joe Burrow, he looking good this year. We got a good connection. It's you know what I mean? But I'm not going to sit there and talk about Patrick Mahomes.
The NBA has handed down their suspension, and Ja Morrant got 25 games. I heard as little as 20 or 25. Most commonly, I heard half a season. I heard a few people go as far as a full season. I didn't think a full season. I was more of that probably half season scenario group of people. Of course, the Players Association, I'm not a big fan of it. It's a slippery slope with that. And we talked about it, the fact that he's not actually broke a law. So this is more of the NBA and how they feel their players need to conduct business. And it's funny because they're not the only league, and a lot of people have lost this in the whole conversation about it. The NFL did the same thing with the NFL has done the same thing with other players, and I know there's other ones, but most recently, Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson didn't do anything that broke the law. Regardless what people think, expecting or wanting someone basically to jack you off is not against the law. It is maybe frowned upon, and it's not the conduct that the NFL or any NFL team wants their players to uphold, but it's not against the law. And so he got suspended 11 games based on his conduct, how he basically the professionalism that the NFL and the teams want to uphold. And at the end of the day, that's what Ja Morrant's getting suspended for. He didn't break the law, but there's a certain code of conduct. There's a certain professionalism the NBA and the teams want to hold. And so I don't know how or if the Players Association can get the games, the suspension changed and reduced or anything, because it's not based on him breaking the law. It's basically based on the NBA and how they feel the punishment fits to hold that certain professionalism or conduct. And you got a lot of people out there also fan base wise, I think more so Memphis or Ja Morant fans, they're upset as well. Well, he didn't break the laws, he did blah, blah, blah. Nobody's arguing that case. Nobody's arguing whether or not he broke the law or not. We all understand he has his right, and I am all about the Second Amendment. I am all about being able to carry your gun. There's also the difference between acting like an adult and a professional with a gun, and then acting like a 5-year-old idiot with a gun on a live stream. There's just a big difference, especially on top of having to act a professional way and conduct yourself in a certain way because you're under contract to do so. And it's just like in the military. When I was in the military, I didn't just work from PT till I got off for the day. I was a soldier 24/7. Therefore, anything I did that I did not conduct myself as a soldier 24/7, I was held accountable for. Same with any athlete, period. You are under contract. Therefore, technically, you are owned 24/7 until your contract expires. So if you do anything in your quote-unquote off time, off season, whatever, you're still under contract. You're still a part of that association. You're part of that team. You're part of whatever 24/7 until your contract is up. You're no longer part of the NBA, NFL, MLB, whatever the case may be. So I don't see how the Players Association can have any kind of case, get anything reduced, because now this solely sits in what the NBA feels is best for them. What makes them look the best, what helps them look professional, what helps them continue to have role models for young kids to follow versus not follow. Your thoughts on the suspension, your thoughts on if anything will change on the suspension.
I was kind of, when the suspension came and, how the commissioner reacted, during the NBA Finals, stating that they was going to wait until the season has ended to announce that the decision that they came up with and the overall look. I thought 25 games was a good deal. I was expecting more. Honestly, I was looking for at least half a season, 40 plus games. That's what I was looking for. The overall look made it look bad in the NBA. With Ja Morant, as far as the first incident, in Denver with the strippers and strip club, the gun, that was kind of like, this is your warning, and then coming back. Yeah. Yes, his friend did record him. Yes, the statement he's saying that was a toy gun, whatever the case may be, it makes him look bad. And then with the picture of him, doing a toy gun with a candle, that's been floating around on Instagram. It kind of really makes Ja Morrant look childish. Is his decision making, is it there? You understand what I'm saying? With the incident with his mom at Foot Locker, and then him physically coming up there, after his mom calls him about an employee at Foot Locker. I couldn't imagine myself, my mom, I'm a full-blown NBA player sitting at home. You understand what I'm saying? My mom calls me about an incident at Foot Locker, and I got enough money to buy every shoe in Foot Locker. You understand what I'm saying? Me physically get in my car, drive to Foot Locker, my mama gone, and then drive to Foot Locker and confront an employee that works at Foot Locker. You understand what I'm saying? So as far as his mentality, that sets a bad example. You understand what I'm saying? That's like saying my mom or sister call me if something happens, and if they call me, they already know they expecting something to happen because they're calling me. You understand what I'm saying? So it kind of makes them look, as far as bad in that situation, in decision making. What type of decision making are you making? You know what I mean? You hitting a child playing a pickup game. You understand what I'm saying? First of all, what are you doing playing a child in a pickup game anyway? You understand what I'm saying? I'm a full-blown NBA. I'm a full-blown NBA star. You know what I mean? That's the least I would want to be playing as far as a high school player. You understand what I'm saying? That's just decision making. That's where it falls back on good decisions. Why is you even playing a teenager in a pickup game, a full-blown pickup game, and you get upset to hit the child or to smack something away from the child or even confront a child, and I'm a full-blown NBA player. You're not playing against adults. You're playing against a teenager. So I think his decision-making is not as good, as far as being an NBA player. And from what I heard, he didn't accept Lil Wayne's, invitation invite for him being like a little mentor to him. I read that too. So it's just based on decision making, and I felt like 25 games was not enough. But what's gonna be next? The apologies and the statements. You know what I mean? That only goes so far. You know what I mean? It's really just down to his actions now.
I want to do an update. The Cleveland Guardians. It's so hard. Even when I do my 3 at 3 and I say the Cleveland Guardians, I hesitate every time when I even say the Guardians. It's so hard for me to say. But they've tied it up 4-4 in the bottom of the fifth. So looking good that I might get my 3 at 3 today.
Okay.
Do you think that Ja has learned his lesson? Like, I don't know, especially since I feel they kind of just slapped him on the wrist. Like, I'm a firm believer. Let's just go ahead and let's get the punishment out there. Let's make it severe enough that we're not going to. Obviously, 8 games the first time around was not enough because he turned around within a month or two and did the same thing again. I don't know if 25 games was even enough. Like, in my opinion, I am more of that. Let's get the harsher punishment out of the way. Maybe they'll learn that lesson that way. I learned my lesson growing up. Like, my stepfather whooped my butt. I'm not going to say he beat me. He whooped my butt, though. Like, you did not want to be whooped by my stepdad. Like, my stepdad was 6'4", big guy, and you knew if you got out of line that your butt was going to be beat. And so I know my wife and I, we have different disagreements on punishment stuff, and so I don't even get into the whole I let her take care of whatever, because we have different views on the whole punishment thing. And she feels that, kids shouldn't have to be beaten. And I'm not saying beat your kids, but I'm also a firm believer that, that's part of where we're at in America today, because some kids have not had their butt beat. They should have had their butt beat. And so, like, I knew if I did certain things, and the wife always throws out, well, kids will be kids, and this is why kids do that. and I think she thinks I joke sometimes or just don't say anything when we talk about, well, I used to do this and I used to do that. There's a lot of things I didn't do. Like, it wasn't really until I moved out of my mom and my stepdad's house spring break of my senior year when I was 18 years old and lived with my father before I really kind of started doing things. Because I feared, not fear that my stepdad was just going to beat me, but I feared the consequences if I did something that I knew that I shouldn't be doing or was not approved. And it wasn't like I had the super strict life, but they're just things, you don't go smoke, you don't go drink, there's things I agree, maybe only having 15 minutes or an hour of TV time a day was a little bit strict. But my parents also, we lived in the generation, you go outside and play. They didn't want you sitting inside. So the generations are different. You only got a little bit of time on the phone. You were expected to go outside and play, not coming in and out of the house. If you wanted water, you drink out the hose. Like, you weren't deprived of water, but you were drinking out the hose. You weren't coming in and out of the house. And you were going to be in when the street lights came on. Like, go out and play, enjoy your life. And I have no regrets with that. And it actually aggravates me on a daily basis that I have I have 4 kids this summer, and 99% of the time, all 4 of them are sitting in 4 rooms versus being out. So the wife and I will be out back. We'll be out back with a fire. We'll be out back doing yard work. We'll be out back sitting on the porch, whatever the case. Because we grew up, go outside. But unfortunately, my son doesn't live with me 10 months out of the year. Unfortunately, her kids had grew up most of their life before I moved in. That's all they did was just sit on different devices and sat inside and everything else. That was not how we grew up. But anyway, but I knew that if I did certain things that I was not supposed to do, if I said cuss words, the wife's like, oh, all teenagers say cuss words. No, I was affiliated once with 2 boys that said bad words. I got my mouth washed out with soap just being affiliated with them, not even saying the words. So until I moved out, no, cuss words were not a thing for me, regardless what she thinks that all teenagers do it. Until I was 18 and moved out, cuss words didn't come out of my mouth because they were not getting back to my mom and my stepdad, so my mouth was washed out with soap again. That just was not happening. There was a lot of things that, no, I did not experience or do until I was 18 and moved out because of the fact that I knew what the consequences were, because the consequences were harsh. I'm not going to say harsh, but there was not a slap on the wrist. Oh, no, don't do it again. No, it was, if you do this, this is what's going to happen. I don't want this to happen. This doesn't feel good. And I feel the same way with Ja Morrant. Y'all slap him on the wrist a couple of times, ain't going to change nothing. Now, if you start talking a half a season, full season, which then costs him money out of his potential contracts because he's not going to make All-NBA or he's not going to make this or lose shoe deals and everything else because why is Nike or any other shoe company going to pay and sponsor a player that is not playing on the court most of the season? Then you start getting results. But until you get to a point that you're actually doing something that's going to cause some kind of harm or some kind of, even if it's just financial, you're not accomplishing anything. And I'm sorry, slapping him on his wrist for 8 games and 25 games, I don't think he's learned his lesson. I would be shocked, Mario, like shocked, if this was the last time we had any kind of stupidity incidences out of Ja Morrant.
I'm on the same path as you are. I don't really think this is the last. Hopefully I don't want to sound like I'm bashing them, but hopefully it is.
I hope I'm wrong.
But I want. Yeah. But I can definitely see something. I can see something else happening. I just can't imagine. You heard a lot of people say change of scenery. You understand what I'm saying? But at the same time, I just don't think this is his last incident. But it's kind of crazy how the NBA kind of took the Kyrie Irving. If you really want to look at things, right? It's funny how Nike and the NBA and the media took Kyrie's post, copy of a link to his own beliefs towards, the Ja Morrant guns and beating up, hitting children and going to Nike stores, Foot Lockers. They handled them two situations a little bit different. I kind of wonder why, but that's kind of another topic for another day. But I don't think it's his last, incident, being in the news or on Instagram. I just can't see it.
No, I don't. I mean, and the wife had to learn the hard way. I still don't think that she's seen the worst situations still to come about. There for the longest time, she kind of, especially with the daughter, teenage daughter, she's 16 now, kind of just pat on the wrist, and it just kept going and kept going and kept going because you weren't putting an actual punishment down that was meaningful. Once you kind of grip in the reins and actually put a punishment down, you started to get results. And I feel the same way. But talking about change of scenery, there's rumors, I think Bill Simmons was the one to put out that reliable sources to him says that Zion Williamson will not be on the Pelicans come Thursday or after Thursday. I know that the porn star or whoever that he was messing with told New Orleans to go ahead and trade him, that she's got videos and everything else, blah, blah, blah. Zion's got himself in a little pickle.
As far as the Zion thing is a little bit more different, compared to the John Morant thing. Zion takes a lot of hit just because he's not on the court. We see when he's on the court, we see good and great things from him as far as his field goal percentage, as far as the points, points per minute, how the team overall reacts. His drama is staying healthy. Is it ever going to happen? Is his greatness ever going to be at his full potential? Are we ever going to see what he can do? No. I don't. I don't want to sound like a bastard. No. But I don't. I want him to do. Even though he's a dookie. Yeah, it's his own doing. As far as the weight situation, that's your own doing. Honestly. Yeah, I can agree. You
make millions of dollars every year. There is no reason that you can't dedicate. I understand you don't make the money LeBron makes. Yeah. LeBron spends a pretty penny on his body and has played for 20-something years, and he's had his injuries here and there. But for a 20-year career, he's really not had injuries. There is no reason. And I'm not saying you got to spend $1 million a year on your body.
Just be dedicated.
But there is no reason that there's no reason that you do not at least take care of yourself. Now, if I'm an athlete, and especially having his body type and knowing how dominant I could be in the NBA, I'd be willing to spend $1 million out of my $20, $30, $40 million, whatever the ridiculous contract he's got. I'd be willing to spend that. To get myself in physical shape so that I can play as long as I want to play, to make the money I want to play, versus not taking care of my body. The weight being an issue, the weight also contributing to his injuries, because that's a massive body. That's a lot of weight to be carrying. I know before I went to Cancun in January, I managed to drop 40 pounds. I know since I've been back from Cancun, I've put on 50 pounds. So I've put on my weight plus 10 pounds. I know what my body feels like carrying this weight now. I couldn't imagine being his size, trying to play 82 games a year, just regular season, on the weight that he carries, because he doesn't take care of himself. Now, the difference between him and the difference between I is he gets paid millions of dollars to keep himself in shape. I don't get that. I don't get paid to take care of myself. And trying to to run a store, trying to be a father, trying to continue to help build this brand and everything else that I got going, and being a husband, it makes it hard to do all the right things to keep myself physically in shape, be able to go to the gym and everything else.
Yeah.
And I will say, over the last week to 10 days with my son being in town, yes, I have made it to the gym more times than I probably did the previous year, and some of that is shame on me. Also, having a second job in DoorDashing on the side. Other part of it is on me, shame on me. Other part, just not having time or being slammed or out. Like I said, the last 2 nights, I got home, I took a shower. As a matter of fact, my wife called me, not last night, the night before. She didn't call me, she texted me. She texted me from upstairs. And she was like, why is it that when I sit downstairs, you take your food upstairs and eat, but when I'm upstairs already, you decide to eat at the dining room table? I said, my body is so sore. I am so tired. My body is so sore from work in the gym. I said, I'm not walking all the way upstairs to walk back downstairs, to walk back upstairs. I said, I'm going to sit here at the table to eat my food. I said, then I'm going to go to the end of the hallway and I'm going to get a fresh towel. I said, I'm not even going to get night clothes. I'm going to go take a shower. I said, then I'm going to walk through the house with just a towel on. And I'm going to make one trip upstairs, and that's the only trip I'm making upstairs. I said, I'm going to bed. Because normally, yes, I would go upstairs because I have control of the TV. I can hear what I want to hear. I ain't got to listen to everybody, and I can listen to my sports or my stocks or whatever I'm listening to. I said, but I am not making 2 trips upstairs tonight. I am too wore out for that. I am too sore for that. So part of it's got to do with my work schedule and just being slam wore out. When you're an NBA player, even when I was a bouncer and I had 2 jobs and I was working, at that point in time, I was working almost 80 hours a week at the first job, not counting the bouncing gigs, and I was bouncing 3 to 4 nights a week, and it took me an hour each way to get there as well. I still made sure that I went to the gym every day so that I was physically in the best shape I could be to perform my job as a bouncer. I'm sorry, but as an NBA, especially superstar, or at least could potentially be a superstar, having the body frame that he has, there's no excuse. There is no reason that you are not willing to dedicate the time, and especially the contract he has, be able to dedicate the finances to take care of your body. We watched Tom Brady play for God knows how many years. We've watched LeBron play for God knows how many years. Those are 2 of the biggest examples of players that were willing to financially take care of their body to the point that it paid off so much that it makes no sense why more players are not financially. And I'm not saying every player should have to spend their money, but to see the return on the investment with Tom Brady and LeBron James, who are considered the GOATs of their sport, and what they got out of return for financially taking care of their body, I don't understand why more players don't, and especially someone like Zion, who's having troubles with his weight, having trouble staying healthy, why you would not invest in taking care of your body so you could be a player that could be dominant, that could play as many years as you want to play.
Yeah, I think, if you actually just come down and think about it, how bad do you want it? If you just set them down, you look at them and just say, how bad do you want it? You can eat, you can meal prep, you can have your own chef, you can have a lot of good things in there, but it just comes down to how bad do you want it and how much are you willing to sacrifice, and we can honestly, that's where it all boils down to. As far as me looking in, no, I'm not an NBA player, no, I do not make NBA money, but we can relate somehow, and the way I can relate to him is, how bad do you want it? You know what I mean? How bad are you willing to eat chicken and green beans, five times a day, 6 days a week, you know what I mean, and run and do cardio after lifting or after you work out? How bad do you want it? And that's the way I can relate to Zion. How bad do you want it?
Even if you wanted to eat salads, healthy salads, and people, and it's funny because for a lot of my life, I didn't realize what I was missing out on. I have always been kind of the steak and potato kind of guy, or the ribs, or the chicken, and my veggies were selective. I want your potatoes. Now I do green beans and peas and carrots.
Yeah.
I have a big loving for asparagus now. But salads weren't something that I necessarily did a lot of. And people talk, I've heard people, and even these ads, and I got to dread eating a salad. Oh, God, the salad, this. I think people don't realize how good salads really can be. Like, we love to go to the Texas Roadhouse. I think it's Texas Roadhouse up here. Yeah, Texas Roadhouse, and get a salad. If we're going to go to Texas Roadhouse, we already know we're getting a salad. Or if we're McAllister's. If we're out on Miller Lane off 75, we already know we're getting salads. If I go to Subway, I'm getting a chicken bacon ranch salad, or chicken bacon. I get the Chipotle salad sauce salad. If I am going to Frickers, which you guys don't have in North Carolina, but Frickers, it's kind of a sports place. They're good known for the chicken. I'm getting a salad. Like, people talk about, not to get a sidetrack, but people always talk about these salads like it's this dreadful thing. Find a salad you like. Like, find it. Don't make it bad. But find a salad that you like. Like, I used to be that type back in the day. I don't want to eat that. I don't eat that. You get the right combination with the healthy stuff. Now, don't make it bad for you. Don't sit there and add all the stuff and just basically make a salad unhealthy for you, which really anything with lettuce versus bread is going to be healthy for you because you don't need all these carbs anyway. I'm not saying no carbs, but you don't need all the carbs. But find a salad you like. Find that combination. Because when I go to Texas Roadhouse, I get one type of salad. When I go to McAllister's, it's a totally different salad. When I go to Subway, it's a different. I get a variety of different things, different types of meat, different types of vegetables. So I don't know what Zion's deal is and what he is eating down there. Obviously, it's not salad. It's obviously not chicken and green beans, because I will do chicken and green beans as well down here, or chicken and asparagus. Or any red meat and a veggie as well. But he definitely needs to figure that life out. One more thing before we get here. It's crazy how quickly time goes. Chris Porzingis to the Boston Celtics. Does that change anything in the East? I think this might make the East a little more interesting. I think my personal opinion, I think this might make the Celtics a little bit more of a contender.
All right, my thing is, it sounds good, it looks good, you know what I mean? But they lost a lot of key pieces as well, you know what I mean? First of all, by shipping your point guard Marcus Smart, who's gonna fire everybody up? Who's gonna look in Jalen Tatum's face? Who's gonna look at Jaylen Brown? Who's gonna tell them, look, man, you need to do your job? Even though I'm not even averaging 20 points, but who's gonna look? Who on the bench is gonna look at each other and say, you need to do your job. You need to do your job. You need to do your job. You know what I mean? That's a lot. That's a lot you're taking away. You know what I mean? And then you're taking away the sixth man of the year. You know what I mean? So obviously you're losing some firepower off the bench. It's kind of I think they're in win. They're kind of in win. Next year type of mode. I can honestly say that. Especially if they have Williams and Porzingis. That's a good lineup. But how are they gonna play? Is Porzingis gonna start with Williams with no point guard and no sixth man? You know what I mean? So I think White played a big role, so maybe he could step in as far as, is he willing to take a back seat? Does he need to start? Is he going to be the starting point guard? Is he really even a point guard?
Jaylen Brown's obviously going to have to step up and be a more consistent player as well.
Yeah, so somebody's going to have to fire that team up. Somebody's going to have to look in your face and say, look, you're not doing your job. And if you got something to say, I'm gonna say something back.
I like it because I think as loyal as they want to be to Al Hartford, and he's out on the court every night. He plays his role.
Yeah.
He's like 100 years old, and is not going to. He's not going to get you.
Yeah, but if you can say that too, but at the same time, he does his job. Every game that comes, he has maybe a game here or there that he hasn't stepped up and played, his part, but it's really not on him. I think it still really goes into Brown and Tatum and the coaching staff. It's still focusing on them two and the coach. But it's a good trade. I'm not. But
I think this gives you your three stars. Marcus Smart, on that whole aspect, he was a defensive player, but he wasn't going to get you. It was very rare he got you a lot of points. He was more on the defensive side. I think
I agree.
I think this gives you your three bigs when it comes to scoring. Now you just need to figure out the pieces and how they need to play around them three.
Yeah.
I think is where we're at this point.
But
let them know.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Let them know, not to cut you off, but the lady's getting ready to cut us off here soon because we're after 9 o'clock. These times, it seems like even though we still go in an hour, it seems like it gets shorter and shorter. I don't know why. Let them know where they can find you, find the Carolina Sports Plus, and let them know where you're going to be at.
All right. First off, I want to give a shout-out to Angel Munoz and Burgess Boxing out of Spring Lake. He got a big fight coming up July 29th at the Armory in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I would also like to give a shout-out to Michael Williams Jr. in Fayetteville. He's currently 20-1. He got a big fight coming up in Fayetteville also, August the 12th. You can find us on CarolinaSportsPlus.com. You can like us on Instagram and Facebook at Carolina Sports Plus. If you're out in South Carolina and Rock Hill area, come check us out. We're at the Rock Hill Carnival in the mall by Walmart and Dick's and Belk. So please check us out.
Don't forget, you guys can like us on Facebook, 110 Nation Sports. You can follow us on Twitter at 110 Nation. Instagram, the 110 Nation as well. And then make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel. It would help us out significant to help us be able to eventually monetize our YouTube, to be able to continue to do the upgrades, to continue to be able to put us on new platforms, more platforms, and also be able to help us with be able to buy more things to do giveaways. We're still working on those a few things. I still have a box of things that Mario has given me. I'm still trying to work out the details on a couple other things. I'm about to just say forget it and do it. As a matter of fact, if we don't get word here soon, we're going to do a giveaway that's going to include some raffle tickets. We might do that a couple weeks in a row. But just help us continue to be able to grow and follow or subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can do bigger and better things. Like I said, I want to thank everybody that has caught us over on iTunes. There was a significant upbeat in our traffic over on the iTunes platform. You guys can catch us on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, right here on Blog Talk Radio, our YouTube channel, Google Podcasts, Podchasers. There's a whole bunch of different platforms. If you go to www.the110nationsportsradionetwork.com, it has our shows, our blogs, our marketing partners, show schedules, and also all the tabs that will take you to all the different types of platforms we're on. Or if you just have iHeartRadio or Spotify or iTunes downloaded on your phone, just search it in the search bar, find our show, the 110 Nation, and follow us that way. Don't forget, you guys can catch Race Chat live every Tuesday night right here on the 110 Nation Sports Radio Network at 8 p.m. We'll be back in the studio next Wednesday night, 8 o'clock. I'm sure we'll be reviewing the draft as it is tomorrow night and all the other headlines that come out in the sports world. You guys have a great week, and until next time.